Hello, everybody. Hello. Again, we have with us the man of men. Nobody anywhere, bring him on, let me see him, that knows the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, the facts, the figures, the data, and the realities of what the Constitution and Bill of Rights is, what it's become, and where it's going, than Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, thanks for being here today.
And well, thanks for having me on, Gerald.
Yeah, no, I must tell you, I'm very sad to see what's happened to this country of ours, and I just see it declining and declining in front of our face. And each week, you bring up an article from the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and how they're being destroyed. And you have another, I read this thing too, it was in the news, about what happened in this tiny little town out in Kansas, Marion, Kansas, 1,900 person town. And it was last Friday night, and the Gestapo broke into this guy's house and because of nothing.
Yeah, and, the feds have been doing this and getting away with it for years. And I have been tracking, this is going back to my time at Fox, the destruction of civil liberties, starting at the top, not at the bottom. So the states imitate the feds, get away with it, and then the locals imitate the states and the feds. So on Friday night in this 1,900 person town, the police chief called all the cops in. There's only 5 cops in the town. There's only 1,900 people. All 5 come in right away. We have to serve this emergency search warrant. They serve the search warrant. They break down a door. They walk into a business. They seize the business's servers. The employees that were there were forced to cough up their personal devices. And they say, "Where's the boss?" The boss is at home. They went to the boss's home, broke down his door, seized his server in his home, seized his desktop, seized his mobile device, seized his checkbook. His 98-year-old mother watches this. She collapses. The next day, she's dead. She dies of a heart attack from the stress of observing this. What was this terroristic business that they had to invade? A small town weekly newspaper. And what was the article that they were concerned about? A restaurant review. And what scurrilous information was in the restaurant review? It wasn't even published. What? So the reporter who's doing the restaurant review about a restaurant applying for a liquor license discovers that the owner of the restaurant has a DWI conviction, which is disabling for a liquor license. The reporter asks the owner about it. She calls the police and say, "This reporter must have stolen my identity, logged onto the Kansas police website as if she were me, and downloaded my driving record." Well, DWI records in Kansas are public. You could access them from New York. I can access them from New Jersey. Nevertheless, a judge signed the search warrant to have the police ransack this newspaper like the Gestapo, looking to get every ounce of data from the newspaper to see who committed identity theft. And the answer was no one committed identity theft. There's a federal statute that prohibits the police from doing this. If they want information from the media, that's you, that's me, that's a small town newspaper, that's the New York Times, that's Fox News, that's the Washington Post, they have to present evidence of a crime to a grand jury and get a grand jury subpoena, and then you have the opportunity to challenge that subpoena. They can't just break down your doors. Why? Because the Supreme Court has ruled, and Congress picked up on this, that the press is the eyes and ears of the public. What kind of a society do we live in where the government can threaten the press like this? We have the right to think as we wish and say what we think and publish what we say. We have that natural right because it is our pursuit of happiness. We can't be fully, I know you're not supposed to say anymore that you pursue happiness. That's what Jefferson put in in the Declaration. But we can't be fully happy or fully human if our free thought and free speech and free press can be interfered with by the police for such frivolous reasons. That's why I wrote this piece, because freedom is dying by 1,000 little cuts, and this is one of them.
Freedom is dying by 1,000 little cuts.
Even in small town America, power corrupts and liberty is diminished. Now they have to bring a federal lawsuit against this police department. I don't know where that's going to go. I don't know why the judge signed a warrant. The judge is supposed to know the law, that the DWI records are public and that the police are prohibited from executing a search warrant on the press. The judge is supposed to know this, but she signed the search warrant anyway.
And there was something else too about the cop that gave the order. Wasn't there something about him too?
Correct. The newspaper was planning to publish negative information about this police chief. That also was not published. Was it not published because they're afraid of another raid? Was the raid undertaken because the cop had a vendetta against a newspaper that was investigating his excesses as a police officer? Where are we going with this? This is like Nazi Germany.
Yes.
Say what we want, we'll leave you alone. Say what we don't want, we'll invade you on a Friday evening.
Yeah. America's become like Nazi Germany.
Yes.
So
this got a lot of press because people all across the spectrum, liberals hate this, conservatives hate this. Law and order types usually give police the benefit of the doubt, but there's no benefit and there's no doubt here. This was absolutely and totally wrong, violative of the Constitution, violative of Kansas law as well as federal law.
So as the publisher of a magazine, the Trends Journal, I'm a journalist.
Correct.
So what would be the restrictions that a journalist would have that a regular person wouldn't have?
A regular person can be assaulted by a search warrant at 6 a.m, like at Mar-a-Lago. A journalist cannot. They have to ask you for what they want, or they have to serve a subpoena on you, which is not due for another 10 days. So you have 10 days in which to get a lawyer and challenge it. Before 1986, that was the law of the land in the United States for everybody, not just journalists. The Reagan administration had this fear of money laundering by drug gangs. So they enacted the Bank Privacy Act of 1986. Beware of the title of federal laws. They usually mean the opposite.
Yeah.
It's really the Government Privacy Act of 1986, because it would allow the government to go to your bank and get your banking records and prohibit the bank from telling you that the feds are there. Pre-1986, they had to serve you with a subpoena and you had the opportunity to challenge it. Oh, we're worried you might destroy the records. What do you mean destroy the records? The bank has the records. Unless you're Hillary Clinton and you own your own server and you're going to bleach the daylights out of it, you can't destroy the records. Can't make
everyone listening, listen to what Judge Napolitano was saying. As I said, nobody knows the facts, the data like he does. I ask him a question, all of a sudden, boom, 1986 comes up, and what the Reagan administration did to also rob us more of our freedom. And in your article, you also have that the article will be out tomorrow. And again, everybody, that understand that you got to see what the judge is doing daily with all the great people that he has on Judging Freedom. And it's one after another, and you're not going to want to miss it because he's giving you information that you're just not getting anywhere else when it comes to Judging Freedom. So go to Judging Freedom and see what he's doing. You have an article, as you write here, that the First Amendment reads in part, quote, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or the press, end quote. The iconic language was written not to grant the freedom of speech or for the press or of the press, but to restrain the federal government from interfering with it. We all enjoy from our dignity as human beings the right to think as we wish and say what we think and publish what we say. You are 100% wrong. Who the hell are you to say that? I'll tell you what to say. I'm the government. Anything that you don't swallow from me, you are prevented from thinking for yourself. You are only allowed to swallow government crap. This is America. Brainwashed by crap. That's America. These are the people that you have to listen to. You can't think for yourself. Right in front of our eyes. Right in front of our eyes. They remember they were going to put that clown lady in there that was going to be the misinformation expert.
Right.
Remember that one?
Right. But I know why you're sad when you start your day each morning the way I know you do, devouring all the major national and international publications, because the news is terrible. It is a vindication of Jefferson's prediction, which is that in the long run, government would grow and liberty would shrink. I mean, that's the understatement of the age. If you compare our lives today to the lives that the founders of the country and the framers of the Constitution gave us.
Government would grow and liberty